Hello, everyone. Welcome to a Professionally Unprofessional podcast. I'm joined once again by my good friend Reese,
Hello, everyone.
and it's been of an uneventful month at the minute, or a few weeks since we last were here.
Yeah,
It's
we appear to have all the major releases come and gone now. We're just in the aftermath.
Yeah, well, we did say on the last one probably Monster Hunter Stories 3, but we're recording this on the day it releases, and neither of our copies have arrived.
Yep, since we both went physical.
So that's out for now, but Um, so we'll give our full thoughts on Monster Hunter Stories 3 in the next one. But
But the early news from Muslims YouTubers I follow is actually really good, the best in the series so far.
best way I describe it is, so what we got? So what we got to talk about now? I mean, we got two huge releases because Metacritic gave their first very high score. We got the first high scores for two games.
Yeah, so people are saying that this is this year's Barbenheimer.
Yeah, but or Doom Crossing.
Yeah,
Um, because we had Resident Evil 9 release, or Resident Evil Requiem, I should say.
or as Cal calls it, Resident Evil 7.
Yeah, I made that mistake a lot in the last one. And and we've also had Pokemon Pokopia. So
Yep.
we'll discuss. So I think we start with Resident Evil.
Yeah, that's the big one, and the one you're currently streaming
I'm
every
streaming it.
Tuesday.
I'm streaming it, but I have beaten it on a previous playthrough.
Yep.
Did my total time was 8 hours and 20 minutes and 1 second. Literally did have that 1 second on the end.
Just to spite you, I know CD people.
Yeah. So, okay. But we got some extra perspectives because Elliot played it on the PC. Or he's played a
Yeah,
little bit of it on the PC.
but because of him reviewing other games, he's not got that far into it, so he's avoiding the streams for spoilers.
Yes, and he's also not playing it as optimal because he doesn't have the monitor he needs for it right now.
Yeah,
But he did say it was quite good because the PC version would let you know how much RAM you're using. Or was it like memory or it was something like the GPU would actually tell you. See, I don't really play a lot of PC games because
yeah.
I just find I despite what everyone tells you about it, I think PC gaming is a lot more complicated than the people who really like it claim it isn't.
Yeah, since with console gaming, you buy the console and that's it for 7 years. Whereas PC, you're buying parts all the time and interchanging them.
I just can't be arsed with that. I'm just like I don't
Yeah,
mind buying a console once every 7 years, and I feel like
yeah.
you might say you. I think the amount of savings you get by doing the PC route is minuscule.
And in some cases, it's actually way more expensive because you're in the cost of graphics cards at the minute.
Yeah, I was going to say because the graphics cards is the thing you're going to update the most, and that is always the most expensive shit.
And with the AI bubble at the minute, all the manufacturers are just selling those cards straight to AI companies, cutting
So,
out gamers.
so on the note of so also Ren played the Switch 2 version.
Yep.
He had some misgivings, but he did enjoy the game overall.
Yeah, he was quite surprised when he was streaming and he saw that there was actual hair movement on the characters.
Yeah,
Because
but
apparently the Switch 2 version has no hair movements.
yeah, but the Switch 2 version apparently does run quite well. We also saw the
Yeah,
Digital Foundry video that said the Switch 2 version. I haven't played the Switch 2 version. I might pick it up later as a
yeah.
box. I didn't check. Is the box copy of that one a key card or is it on?
Well, jumping ahead, that's the big thing that pissed off a lot of Monster Hunter fans is that Stories 3 was keycarded. But I'm
Yeah,
not sure about Requiem. Let me
and
just check.
and weirdly, Pokemon Pokopia is a game key card
Yeah, no one knows why.
because it's not exactly a massive game. It files
Yeah, Requiem is a key card as
Right.
well.
So Requiem is a key card. So at that point, it's just like, well, why are you not just? I always think the key cards. I've not got the. I sort of got the point at the start of the Switch 2 generation. At
Yeah,
that point, started to drift away from me as time has gone on.
yeah, because the whole thing was saying it's cheaper to print this smaller game card and that's blank and you download it via the internet than it will be to buy a bigger game card from a full price for everything on. But these days, there appears to just be like an excuse now because almost all big releases are just keycarded on Switch.
Yeah, it's like we don't now have to, and inevitably, this could force the indies out of doing physical releases.
Yeah.
Um, to go to Resident Evil, you haven't played Requiem yet, have you, Reese?
No, I've been too busy doing other games and reviews because I've had literally one a week so far.
I'll be honest, really love Resident Evil Requiem. I think it's one of the best Resident Evils to date.
It's the highest review one in a while, isn't it? I think it's higher than Village at least.
Yeah, it's the highest. I think it's the highest reviewed since 2 remake.
Oh yeah,
which also was one of my favorites in the series. I like the fact that they do this whole thing of like you've got 2 gameplay styles. You play as Grace if you want that Ethan experience from like 7 or 8, and if you liked the more action driven stuff, or you can go third person if you liked the remakes with Grace, or if you liked Leon's more action based survival horror, you have that in his gameplay.
Yeah, which is funny now that Leon's nearly 50 and he's still doing his martial arts moves to the zombies.
I was more weirded out by the fact there's only a 9-year age gap between him and Sherry.
Yeah.
That was like, wait, she's 12 in Resident Evil 2? I thought she was way younger than that.
Yeah, she seemed a lot younger.
I thought she was like 8, 9, or 10. I didn't think she was 12.
Yeah, like practically a teenager during those events.
Yeah, but it's like, especially considering the remake, I think though, obviously I think the whole thing of this would take place between 6 and 7. I think we can throw that out of the. That's obviously was misinformation because this clearly takes place after the events of Resident Evil 8.
Yeah, just due to the time frame of the characters' ages, at least.
Yeah, and I mean, there's obviously some things that don't go explained. Maybe DLC will explain. It's like how Leon and Sherry have that sort of latent T-virus infection.
Well, it's because they were with Leon, we know he was bitten with everyone's gameplay during Resident Evil 2.
Yeah.
I think with Sherry's that she was experimenting on a bit, wasn't she, in the orphanage?
The orphanage was being used for experiments, which we got a bit more of an insight in this game, and holy shit, that's one of the scariest moments in the game.
Yeah, so it does make sense they have been exposed to the virus, and it just lingered because it wasn't enough for a full-blown infection of them, but it just lingered in them.
Yeah, I like that. I do. I will say though, this game does feel like you have not like you need. Like the other Resident Evil games, they felt like you could pick up any of them and have a good time with it. I feel like with this one, with the narrative, it's by the time you get into the second half of it, it's a case of no, you have to have played Resident Evil 2, specifically the remake.
Yeah, especially with all the flashbacks that Leon has. Also, it requires you to have that knowledge.
And there is and there's actually a particular location later on in the game which really ties back to Resident Evil 2 remake.
Yeah.
But that's also another thing where I kind of went, this felt a bit over-reliant on previous Resident Evil lore. It didn't feel like it stood on its own as well.
Yeah, because so even like with Village, which is following the story of Ethan, you didn't have to really play 7 to understand what was happening in Village.
It kind of helped you a little bit, but Village still stood on its own.
Yeah.
Resident Evil Requiem doesn't have that, especially when you get into, as I say, when you get into the second half. The first half, I think it does maintain that. Like Grace is a pretty cool new character.
Yeah, she's also the protagonist from Outbreak, but that's not really that big of a connection.
Yeah, I was kind of like saying, I was kind of like saying, oh yeah, you're from Resident Evil Outbreak. I completely forgot who you were when we started this game, and so I was way to expand on her character.
Yeah. So it was a nice connection, but it wasn't necessary to have for the story.
Also, you'd have thought, given what Also, there's some massive retcons with a bunch of the characters in towards the end of the game throughout the
Yeah,
series. In fact, the series gets a lot of retcons in this
yeah.
one, which I'm not entirely surprised by because they were hinting at it with the ending of Resident Evil 4 that they were going to there was going to be massive changes to the continuity.
Yeah.
Um, but but this is one of the first examples we've seen of some of those changes coming into effect. But weirdly, not the one that we all thought might be the case.
Or especially when one particular character shows up
Yeah, and then
with a striking similarity, shall we say?
yeah, I was going to say, and then it turns out they're not that character, and I'm kind of going,
Yep.
well, what was the point of introducing them? You had a perfectly good villain with Dr. Gideon.
Yeah. Who Ren is just in love with.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I don't get it, Ren, but you do you. I will say as well, the medical facility is a proper good one to good environment.
Yeah.
I mean, I do enjoy. I like the fact that this is the first one where it doesn't matter which wing you go to, there is something trying to kill you at all times.
Yeah, so it really adds to the intensity.
Yeah, so it's like, oh well, I want to go to the West Wing. Oh wait, I got to deal with this thing that's wandering around the halls that's trying to kill me. I want to go to the West Wing. Oh, I've also got that one to deal with, and it does make you think about what route you're going to take to get there. And the survival horror gameplay is top notch. I will definitely say that one. It is some top notch survival horror game. But you do have to think about your ammo count. How much space you have in your inventory? I also think the aiming's improved in this one. I'm not missing as much as I did in previous Resident Evil games.
Well, the streams are beg to differ, Cal.
I don't understand what's happening when I'm on stream because I'm doing actually quite well in the in the actual gameplay. I'll say though, this game, I don't know why this game bothers to give you knives. You never have any of them.
So you can make new knives or break ones down there about to break into scrap for bullets.
Yeah, I get that one, but that's what I tend to do actually. I tend to break them for scrap for bullets because I was just kind of like, why am I bothering with this? They don't work half the time. They do minimal saving you.
Yeah, so what you can do is when you have the QTE to push zombies onto the floor, you can quickly shoot them on the floor, and that kills them faster than bullets and saves them.
Yeah, no, they're obviously there is a versatile moveset in this one. I did like the fact that blood was used this time as a way of crafting items, so that it did invite you to do some backtracking.
Yeah,
There's one thing actually I'll say: the backtracking is quite good to begin with in the game, but it has its issues in the second half. Where the second half, you're only backtracking for optional shit. There is no reason to do it, which I think is actually a good idea. But I think some people might be like, I want a bit more of a reason to backtrack.
Yeah, and I think also the environment plays into that because, like, for the first half, when you're just in a medical center, it's quite confined. It doesn't take you long to go from side to side in it.
Oh god, the game really opens up in the second half, and it's all the environments bar one are way too big.
Yeah.
Because
that's my thing about Resident Evil. It was always meant to be a bit claustrophobic as an action game, even about the original with the Arclay Mansion.
Yeah, no, and I think claustrophobia is its big strength. I do like the fact they kind of brought back the idea of the Crimson Heads with the Blister Heads in this one.
Yeah.
Who are massive bullet sponges.
Yeah. So a lot of people just say now, just do the QT to push them over after shoot them in the kneecaps and then just run away to save ammo.
Yeah, no, I barely fought any of them. I was just like, no, I've got better uses for ammo. Until I did not bother until I had access to a shotgun.
Yeah.
Also, graphically, this game's really beautiful.
Yeah, it's really pushing the RE engine now. It's the best it's ever looked.
Yeah, and I'm playing this on a base PS5. We haven't seen this in PS5 Pro.
No.
But base PS5 it still looks really, really strong.
Yep, and watching on stream, I've not noticed any lag or input delay.
No, it runs phenomenally well. I think my biggest problem with RE9, I would say, is that the plot's a little bit all over the place at the end,
Yeah,
and it's kind of like, and there's way too many moments where really we're still not over RE2. It's like, this is for someone who really likes RE2, but I'm kind of going, well,
yeah.
there's one thing they bring back in the second half, and I'm kind of going, well, why is this here? There is one, where did you get that? And two, there is no reason for this to be here except nostalgia baiting.
Which is a bit of an issue these days with Resident Evil games, because even if you play like a main character who's new, like Ethan, you have other older characters showing up like Chris at the end and that.
Yeah, it's one.
So it appears to be a franchise that tries to do new stuff and then just goes back on the old stuff.
It's like it doesn't. It's like we could do entirely something new here, and then they chicken out at the last minute.
Yeah, because they think, oh, if we go wholly new cast that's unrelated to anyone else, people won't play it. People won't come back.
I will say, I kind of like the fact they kind of mutated the T virus in this one, so that the zombies maintain a slight amount of their consciousness, because it gives you extra patterns to look for. With the zombies, like the sound ones, the one who doesn't like sound actually can kill a whole bunch of shit. There is a video go around, I think, on YouTube of him killing the cook.
Oh yeah.
I think it was the cook or someone like that, but it was a proper enemy, and he was actually doing some real damage to him. And I was like, oh my god, I've actually got to do this. And I haven't played on the very hard difficulty yet either. That's which does, of course, retain the ink ribbons thing.
Yeah.
Good.
So they refuse to let that mechanic die.
No, I am not doing. That is it. No. The thing is, though, I am never, ever, ever playing a Resident Evil game with ink ribbons again.
Yeah, it's one of those things that was created in the early days to help save on memory. So you didn't have save files filling out a memory card. But I think that's a tradition that could just be scrapped now.
Yeah, I'm glad they confine it only to very hard mode.
Yeah.
The
and also there's a completion item you can get with your completion points where you get infinite one for grace, so you can save as much as you want.
Right, that's good. I will say though, this does feel like a Resident Evil. This does feel like a very well made Resident Evil though. At the end of the day, it's mechanically there. The gameplay's great. It looks amazing. There is a couple of retcons that I didn't really like, but that's the major thing I can say against it. I think overall, this is going to be a very. I don't like people saying this is already Game of the Year. And I'm like saying, guys, there's loads more to come out. We're only just in March.
Yeah, give other games a chance to come out first.
It's like we cannot be doing our Game of the Year discussions now. It's like it will almost certainly be in the conversation for several publications, but I don't really want to do that. I just want to look at it as it's released, and I think it's a very good release, and it's well worth it. And I'm amazed they got this thing running on Switch too, to be honest.
Yeah, especially a version that's native and not a cloud version.
Yeah, that's and that to me that has been the strongest third-party support for the Switch 2 to date, because this is not an old release that they're proving to say, wow, we can make this. This is not only, wow, we can make this, we're going to give it to you on the same day as the big boy consoles.
Yeah.
And it's going to look really good still.
Yeah.
So what an achievement that was.
So my question to you would be, is this a good jumping on point for people new to the franchise, or would you recommend the older games first?
If it had just been like the first half, I would have said it is a good jumping on point. But I would say with this one, no, especially if you haven't played Resident Evil 2 Remake.
Yeah.
You absolutely have to have played RE2 Remake, because there is so much in this which you will not get the significance of it if you haven't played that game.
Yeah.
Um, so, let's move on to the other game that people were going on about being a Game of the Year contender.
Yeah, a game that's so popular, they actually sold out of stock
Yeah,
of this, the physical ones.
yeah, that was bizarre. We'll discuss about the key card aspect to
Yeah.
Pokemon Pokopia at the minute, but I want your general thoughts, Reese. You finished the game just before you finished the main storyline just
Yeah.
before, which I know sounds weird considering this is basically Pokemon Animal Crossing / Minecraft.
Yeah.
You finished the main story just before this. What's your thoughts on Pokemon Pokopedia?
Honestly, I really enjoy it. It smashed all my expectations going into it.
Yes, because
Since so just to say, because we tried to review Animal Crossing in the past and do some multiplayer stuff, I got very bored of that and the repetitiveness. Whereas with this, I was not bored of Pokopia.
yeah, to me it reminded me of the sort of early stages of Animal Crossing New Horizons, that you do have those objectives and that general, here's what you're supposed to be doing today, and you can
Yeah.
do the other stuff if you want in the meantime effect.
Yeah. So I feel what really helps Pokopia is there's a through line narrative from beginning to end.
I agree.
So people aren't just left to their own devices and make up their own story, for instance.
Yeah, and it also does suggest this idea of, it's going to be. It does also have this great moment of kind of. You can have this gameplay, if you can do this like general slice of life gameplay if you want, or you can follow this route and do the big requests and unlock new areas, because it's not one big open environment that you get. You get like preset done environments. So there's the wetlands when you start, and then you get the canyon later. And I really so I'm right, and I haven't finished the main story on this one. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
But I have gone along with it quite a bit. But it's like one of the funny things I find is the fact you can't finish you actually cannot finish this game in less than 24 hours, because part of the main story is you've got to restore one of the Pokemon centers, and that is a day's construction in real time.
So, spoiler alert, Cal, you have that objection in every zone, in all of them.
Yeah.
So it's minimum 4 days.
Yeah. So yeah, you are talking minimum 4 days worth of content, but
yeah,
it is strong. And I like the fact though, there's not a large amount of what do we call Pokemon you have to get for the main story. That there is.
Yeah.
So it means most of the other Pokemon you get is quite a luxury. Like I got I put up a rail crossing in the canyon zone. I got a charcoal, for example.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Or I got something on my habitat dex. Put up a bunch of stuff in the lava area, and I got Armor Rouge's previous. I can't remember what its name is now. What's the one that evolves into Armor Rouge and Celadurge?
Charcadet.
Charcadet, that's it. I got a Charcadet in my environment. I did actually got one by random at one point, because I popped. I was actually trying to make a fishing with a stool environment to get a Lotad. Yeah. But I put it under a waterfall, and they said, "Oh, by the way, you found another environment that we didn't tell you about."
Hey, that's impressive, because I've not found that one.
Yeah. You put like one of those, the wooden stool when you want to put it next to the fishing rod for like Magikarp.
Yeah.
You do that under a waterfall, it creates a new habitat.
See, so that's what I drew about this game, is that stuff randomly happens to different people, and they share the knowledge for the enjoyment.
Yeah, we haven't tried link play, which that would have been interesting to try, especially if we'd knew someone with a Switch 1 that wanted to play it.
Yeah, so this game, it doesn't run on Switch 1 natively. You have to do that game share thing.
Yeah, the game share aspect. So I'd be interested how game share functions with this one.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I was planning to do some this weekend, either with you or some of my other friends in America who are also playing the game. But yeah, so from what I hear so far, multiplayer is good. That's pretty much where the most Animal Crossing aspects come from, where you build these a little town together. Since in the game, there's four main zones. There's your starting zone, the canyon zone you're saying about before, a beach zone, and a sky zone. And then there's also a hidden fifth one, which does tie into the plot a bit. So it's the one in the star zone where you go all the way to the left along that giant road.
Stage I'm at the minute, I haven't found any of the game-specific Pokemon like Peekaboo or Mosslax.
Yeah, so you get those as you explore more into the other areas. So it's pretty much in the canyon one and the beach one. That's when so you can do either one of those first before the sky one, but you have to do at least them both before.
Yeah, now I didn't know that at the time, so I assumed I had to. I assumed it would just give me the one I had, but then so I just assumed the canyon was everyone's second one. I didn't know you could go to the beach one for a second instead.
Yeah, so that actually happened to me. I actually went to the canyon one first because that's where I was closest to it, the Onyx. I found it. So I went there afterwards. But my friend in America, she played and she went to the beach first. So it is interesting.
Yeah. So actually, on that note, because you and I went into this with quite low expectations. We didn't queue up when we were in that Pokemon event in London. We didn't queue up to do the demo for it.
Since that queue was nearly an hour long most of the time.
I mean, the lowest we saw it was 40 minutes, and we were kind of like 40 minutes for a slice of life game. Not that interested.
Yeah.
The only bit of this game that really annoyed me was the make a path for the Pokemon missions.
Yeah.
Because they never need it afterwards, and it's just for this one thing, and it really annoyed me half the time. So, like, especially the first one with Slowpoke, because at that point, you have not got enough materials to build... you've almost certainly not got enough materials to build a proper path.
So I worked around that by going back to the main area, grabbing the soil cubes and replacing the sand with the soil all the way to the Pokemon Center. And it works fine on that.
Yeah, see, I didn't know I'd get away with that one, so I would have done that, but...
Yeah. Since these Pokemon, they don't like walking on dry ground. So either get better ground or use water going on the existing grounds.
What I just did was I kept picking up the wood planks. Then when he stopped, going behind him, grabbing a bunch of them, putting them forward, and then saying, "New path."
So you did it the hardest way possible.
Yes, I did, and it took me like 20 minutes to get Slowpoke to that.
Oh God! You should have just asked. I would have just told you. This is what I did. I did it in like 2 minutes.
I'd see the humidity, and then I've had that humidity thing where I've got to get a rain dance thing showed up. So Goomy shows up. No, shows up. And incidentally, I was spoilt on some of the special Pokemon that show up in the game.
Well, Nintendo did that themselves in various trailers.
Yeah, so
before the game came out.
So obviously we knew Kyogre was going to be in the game, for example.
Yeah.
But there was a couple more which I learnt about where I was like, oh, that wasn't in the trailer. I kind of wish I hadn't spotted that just by clicking on my subscriptions on YouTube. So I was like, can people wait like a day, maybe, or a couple of days before they post videos like that? I really am annoyed that there's so much spoilers that go up on YouTube within an hours of the game being out at midnight in various countries. I'm like, can you not just wait a little bit?
Yeah, especially because like Animal Crossing, in this game, you have to wait like a day for the Pokemon Center to be constructed, right?
Yeah.
Turns out, like Animal Crossing, you can date skip. So you can set your Switch eternal clock to the next following day to skip all that waiting around. So I didn't do that for my review, but that's what a lot of these people who got the game at the very start did, just so they could farm out content quicker.
Does that, hang on, here's a question though. In terms of like speed running, does that count the amount of time how does that affect the clock when you're shutting down the game and then moving your clock forward?
I've not seen any speedrunners yet, or for Animal Crossing, so I wouldn't know. But I imagine, depending how often you'd have to wait around, it might be allowed to just have like an external clock going and not be in-game time.
Right, I see. So
since not many other games have like a date function that requires waiting like that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Also, I do. What do you think of the way this game looks?
I actually really enjoy this very cute minimalist art style. I think it works really well for what they're going for.
Yeah, it certainly works better than some of the other games, Pokemon games, that have tried to go minimalist.
Yeah.
Um, look, looking at Pokemon Rumble, for example, like that,
Oh, those games are rough.
they looked rough at the time, and it was like, oh,
Yeah.
Pokemon. The thing about Pokemon is this: it's such a well-designed franchise with what they've created of it. Why would you mess with really good designs?
Yeah, so all the Pokemon look great. It's more the world has a minimalist design
Yeah, the minimalism is quite obviously is to affect the blocky nature of the world.
and simplify it down.
Yeah, I I don't like the fact that there are. I'm wondering. Well, the fact there's events in this game makes me wonder: is DLC on the horizon for this game?
Yeah, so far we know of two separate events. The one currently running at the minute is the Hoppip event
Yeah.
with all of its evolution lines. And those same people who date skip to skip constructions found a later event down the line with a Sableye
Oh,
because
good.
they just kept skipping the day to see what turned up.
Oh god, I don't like Sableye.
No,
It's annoying and competitive. It's annoying. It doesn't. And it's got one of the worst mega designs ever.
yeah, Mega Sableye makes more sense for a Legend of Zelda crossover because it's basically got a giant rupee it
Yeah,
hides behind.
exactly. It's ridiculous. Put some. It's one of those where I just want to say the Pokemon Company make an effort.
Yeah. So far we know only know about these two events right now. There's nothing more that's been data mined yet. So there could be, or if they're not happy enough, all the stuff got leaked, they might say, right, we're not going to tell you any more events. We may drop something in the future, but we're not telling you right now.
So, okay, so let's say these events have already been secured. We've got the Hoppip events happening right now, the Sableye
Yeah.
events coming next. Obviously, there'll be more events in the future. Do you
Yeah.
think that's going to take the route of paid DLC, or do you think we will have a paid DLC expansion? Considering this has sold relatively well, this sold quite well actually.
Yeah. So just the data from Amazon alone, we know they sold out physically of 2.2 million copies. So they had to literally order more in to
Exactly.
meet demand. So I think they could do more expansion in the future because considering the level design, we've got various parts of Kanto we haven't revisited yet over
E-
the course of the story.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's more that could be done here.
Since that was a big spoiler for the game, we did know the setting, and then one of the notes in the first starting area says, "Oh, by the way, we're in Kanto,"
Yeah.
and his Misty's haircut on the Mandarin story path, so you have to interact with it.
Yeah. And here's a boulder badge for some reason.
Yeah. So the starting level is actually Fuchsia City, which is why you find Koga's outfit, and you're based in the Safari Zone at the
Ah.
top of the map.
So what is, in your opinion? Okay. So in your opinion,
Yep.
Reese, how do you feel about this being a game key card? Because it's not a huge file getting it digitally. It's like it's less than 7 GB.
Yeah, I don't see why they've done this except to save money, which is just a bit scummy in my opinion. Because in the future, if someone tries to buy this game themselves, but the eShop is down, they won't be able to actually play the game if they've got the game keycard because it'll be blank,
Yeah,
which
exactly.
is a big pet peeve.
And it does make me think, but this does make me think this is what the Pokemon Company is going to be doing going forwards because it's been very successful for them now. So more than likely, Wind and Waves, which we'll get onto our thoughts on that in a minute,
Yeah,
will be a game key card.
yeah. So it's just cheaper for them to do.
It's a combination of it's cheaper for it. Now, if Wind, I wonder if they wanted to make, and this is me going a bit tinfoil hat.
Yeah,
But hear me out on this one. I'm wondering if the Pokemon Company want to make a very, very big Pokemon game with their with Gen 10 coming up, and it's going to have to be a game key card.
yeah,
So they're going to test the waters out now to say, can we get away with doing a game key card for this kind of release? And if we can, then we'll go. Then we can get away with it for Gen 10. And if this doesn't work, well, this hasn't quite worked. We maybe should consider just buying bigger cards to get Gen 10 on it.
Yeah, since at this point, game key cards, all it is that it's a digital copy of the game, but you have to insert this blank card for it to activate.
Now, personally, given the portable nature of the Switch 2,
Yeah,
I kind of prefer going digital
yeah,
over physical, but for many of the releases. But if that's the case, I thought, well, why would you then tie yourself down to something where you're going to still have to take out the card and put it back in?
yeah.
So in terms of like that actually interferes with the portability of the console, surely.
Yeah, it really does, because it's the same game file, whether or not you're digital or game key cards, because it's still stored on the Switch. It's not being stored in the key cards. The key card is basically just like a key for your car. You put it into ignition and turn it on. The car's still there. You just need a key to activate what's there.
Yeah, exactly. So, what's your thoughts then? Gen 10, will this be a game key card or will it be on the cart?
Well, I've just looked up how big Scarlet and Violet was, and after the 2 DLCs and updates, it was going about 15 gigabytes. So we know the Switch cards do come at 16 gigs or 32 gigs, meaning if they want to save money and do the smaller key cards, rather than put all the information on there, they could make it key card exclusive.
I think they will, because I just think they've gotten away with it here. I
Yeah.
say gotten away with it like they've sold us a shit game and then they've sold us a good game with this, but they have kind of gotten away with not actually technically giving a physical release. And we were always saying it. We said at the beginning of this generation. We said at the beginning of this generation last year when we did that Switch 2 early podcast. We thought the key cards would be more for the third-party companies, and the Switch and Nintendo's first-party stuff would avoid this one. I don't think we can say that anymore now that a Pokemon game has got a spin-off, yes, but a Pokemon game has been put onto a game key card.
Yeah, it does set a bad precedent, in my opinion.
So what will Nintendo look at? Will main Nintendo look at this success and say, well, maybe we can save a bit of money. We don't have to put the new 3D. We don't have to put that new Yoshi game on. Well, obviously Yoshi's already been decided.
Yeah.
But let's say, for example, an upcoming 3D Mario. We don't have to now put that on a cart. We can just do the game key card. It does kind of lock out people without good internet connections, but
Definitely.
that's an issue in of itself.
And even people with good internet conditions, if they've got really bad download speed, it'll still take hours just to download it to the game keycard.
Oh yeah, no, that's going to be an issue. So, in my opinion, in Europe, okay, we're kind of waffling around it, Reese. What would you say is your big final opinion on Pokemon Pokopia?
I think this is a really great game. Beat all my expectations. It's not developed in-house by Game Freak or Nintendo. It's by Koei Tecmo's Omega Force.
Yeah,
and Nintendo just published it.
It's the Dynasty Warriors people.
The same team who made Pokemon Conquest on the DS, if you remember that game.
Oh yes, that was really good.
Same, I love that.
And they also, but like recently they've done things like the Persona 5 Dynasty Warriors stuff, and it's like when I heard that they were making a Pokemon game, I was like, what are these? What are these? I thought, okay, well they'll do this kind of action game, and then they come out and say, wait, these guys are making an Animal Crossing knockoff. But
no, I've been super impressed with their work.
Yeah, they've proved they're versatile. I will agree with you. I think this is a much better game than I was expecting. It's good selection of Pokemon, very enjoyable gameplay. It does have that good thing that good slice of life games of just getting lost in it.
Yes, I had that happen a lot while I spent off exploring and tunneling, especially when you go to the Canyon Zone, which is revealed to be Pewter City, which was Broxtown. So one day I just got lost just going through the volcano, excavating stuff, and you can actually find something really interesting if you go excavating in the volcano in the top right of the map.
Now, I did not know that, so I'm going off there as soon as the recording's done.
So I went into this game, unlike you, I went with zero spoilers. and no idea what to do or how to progress quests. So when I made these big fan service discoveries, I was like super impressed. Thinking, oh, I had no idea this was here. It's optional and it's amazing.
I think I better put a spoiler warning tag in the
Yeah,
description because I didn't realize we were going to go into this much. But yeah,
yeah,
so those are the two big releases at the minute. They've been good. So let's go into the news segments, I'd say,
yeah,
and a big one to start us off with. Nintendo is suing the U.S. government
yeah,
over the Trump administration's tariffs.
yeah.
Now, obviously, this is something Nintendo's been planning for a while because I remember last year that really damn near fucked their launch of the Switch 2.
Massively.
Like, it was a case of like they couldn't have pre-orders in the States, they had to delay the pre-orders almost everywhere else. It was a talk of would the whole console be delayed? Would they not even ship to the US? And there was also
Yeah,
so
especially because even though Nintendo is a Japanese company, the consoles were manufactured in various Asian nations, and
most
those have been heavily tariffed.
specifically China and Vietnam
Yeah,
are the ones which were very heavily tariffed that were affected
yeah,
uh, by this. And obviously, Nintendo does not have enough money to move that production elsewhere. They're not going to move it back to Japan,
yeah.
and they're absolutely not going to move it to America. Which
Oh no.
that stupid excuse of the tariffs are going to bring these jobs to America and these productions to America. It's like I remember one analyst said it would cost them Nintendo at least $1 billion to create a Switch 2 factory in the States. And even if they did, the supply chain for all the parts is still in Asia.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you still have to work around that. The um it's absolutely and so Nintendo's obviously said they had that their launch obviously did affect their financial standings. They want to
Yeah,
take them in. This will be in court for a long time, I think. I don't
definitely. Yeah,
because and I actually could imagine this is probably going to get settled out of court.
yeah.
But
Because it is quite embarrassing for the Trump administration.
yeah. But at the end of the day, I mean, this is not going to affect much of anything. Like the Nintendo's not going to suddenly get banned in America.
No,
You
no.
can't, no matter how much the current government is flaunting law and order, you can't, you still, you still can't just ban a company from your nation on these petty grounds.
Especially because Nintendo already invests heavily in America anyway, as we see with VGC tournaments and the World Championship being there.
In Pokemon and even
Yeah,
wider Nintendo, you've got Nintendo of New York,
yeah.
Nintendo of New York,
Yeah, you also got the Nintendo Lands at Epic Universe in Florida, the
and
theme park.
and they've just opened Nintendo San Francisco
Yeah,
as well, which is it. So they obviously that's a lot of investment in the economy to lose.
yeah,
And Nintendo is the biggest company in Japan now. They are the most financially successful company in Japan.
yeah,
But I think after all this, they are going to start rethinking that market in some regards. Like,
yeah,
for example, the Pokemon company does things quite separately um, from the rest of Nintendo, and we'll get into more of that later. But
yeah,
what, for example, if when things are coming up, they decide no, this is more of a ball ache to have the World Championships happen in America. Some of our competitors can't get visas.
yeah,
We're already in a lawsuit with the government, and they might pressure venues to not have us. Why don't we just do it Why don't we just go a bit further? Let's do it in Vancouver or Toronto, for
yeah,
example. We got convention centers that will probably be big enough to host, and arenas big enough to host it there, or we can do it in London again. We'll have a UIC somewhere else, and we'll have the Excel Centre be where we have the main stage, and then we'll hire a bigger venue to do, we'll hire like Wembley Arena to do
yeah.
the finals day. Well, can you imagine though Wembley Arena being not the stadium, like the arena thing that's close to it, where
Yeah.
Ren and Elliot saw Powerball. Can you imagine if that was the location of the final of the Pokemon World Championships?
Yeah, I was meant to actually be the Wembley Arena, just on the football pitch, everyone gets a sword and shield back out.
No, no, you need to be League of Legends at that point to do
Yeah,
that, to do the stadium events.
yeah,
Like the League of Legends World Championships, they do stadiums in like places like Seoul.
yeah,
But again, that's a big difference. Actually, that'd be great. The Pokemon World Championships goes to Korea.
yeah.
I can think of Seoul being a very good spot for that tournament. Korea certainly is not devoid from the Pokemon video game championships. One of the previous world champions is from South Korea.
And quite a few Korean players also play Unite as well, don't they?
Yeah, Unite does have a strong Korean standpoint. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be. I can't imagine it would be out of contention to say Seoul could be a possible location for the World Championship. But that's the point. Yeah. Do they want to stay in America where they've done all bar 3 of the World Championships in that country? Do they want to just say no? We don't want the headache. We're currently in this lawsuit.
Yeah, it's tricky to think about because they're already so heavily invested anyway.
Because the 3, by the way, are London, Vancouver, and Yokohama.
Yeah,
were the 3 locations where they held it before that. I would make the argument though. We have to sit on this. My prediction is it's going to be settled, and I'm saying this with no knowledge of no legal knowledge, or so hashtag not a lawyer. I suspect this will be settled out of court for an undisclosed amount of money.
Yeah, just wait for our future episode where we cross over with legal and get his opinion.
Oh, I'd love to get that that crossover happening. So that's the first thing. The other thing was there was a lot of Nintendo presentations while we were gone.
Yeah, so we had that indie partner showcase.
Yeah, we'll start with the indie one because there wasn't much discussed on that one.
Because it was quite short. It was only like 15 minutes.
Yeah, that was really short, even by like there were some decent looking games on it. But the opening, I can't even remember what the opening game was called. It was like that train running game.
I think it's been on something else first, or if not, it's very something similar because I think it was a sequel, wasn't it?
Yeah, because it's coming out in June. We know that one. Yeah. There was just.
So here we go. So the first game was. The first one. Yeah, so it was that Dench Attack where he plays on the train track doing flips and shit.
Yeah, that did not appeal to me at all. That one.
Which is interesting because it has a bit of a hi-fi rush aesthetic to it.
I get
all the graffiti.
Yeah,
and style.
And yeah, the game it did remind me of a little bit was Jet Set Radio.
Yeah.
But I think I've got burnt. Put it this way, I want people to say this is a really great game before I go out and buy it.
Yeah. Because it does look pretty one note where you just a train just doing flips and that's pretty much it for the entire game.
But there wasn't many shadow drops in this.
No, the one we had was that My Little Puppy. Apparently, people were crying at the trailer.
Oh yeah, it's the dog where the dog goes out from heaven to reunite with its owner.
Yeah,
and I thought, oh god, I'm not gonna play that. That's gonna just that's just gonna do my head in, that one.
Afterwards, we had that physics game Heave Ho 2. Where people join hands and throw each other around.
That will annoy the shit out of me. I am never playing that.
One of the biggest high-profile ones was Moonlighter 2. You remember that little action top-down game?
I never played the original Moonlighter, so
I think it's on PS5 on the PS Plus, I think, or at least it was for a time.
But there were 2 big ones to talk about in this, though.
Yeah,
there was Midnight Walk is coming to Switch 2.
Yes, that's at the end of March, I believe.
Yeah, Elliot was very glowing about that game when he played it, and there was a shadow drop at the end of it.
Yeah, so there was a second train one at the end, which is Unrailed 2.
I like the original Unrailed. That was pretty good.
There was Toem 2, so a lot of sequels. Ratatan, and then they closed with Blueprints.
Yeah, that was a big one. That was the other big one. Blueprints got shadow dropped. I did actually double dip and buy it on Switch 2 because I wanted to prove the point. It was my game of the year last year, but I always thought this would be so perfect on Switch and Switch 2 because it's got that portability. It's really good for those short portable gameplay. It's And I did try it out. It's really well done. It has a couple of performance issues in a couple of places, but other than that, it's a very good port of Blueprints.
Which is interesting to me. It has those issues because it's not a very graphically intensive game,
I know what you mean, but it does have a couple of moments where the frame rate does dip a bit.
which is quite surprising to me.
But as a result, to be fair, it is having to load loads of environments at random,
Yeah.
almost certainly, because the whole thing of it being that escape room roguelike.
But don't forget, this is the same system that loads all the open worlds of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 all at once.
Yeah, exactly. I would say that, but it is a good version of Blueprints. It's a perfectly playable version of Blueprints. I think it's a great way to play it. It is Switch 2 exclusive at the minute.
Yeah.
Which to me says they had issues making this thing work on Switch 1.
Yeah.
But I would recommend it. So that indie showcase was not great, let's be honest.
No, it was very forgetful. That could have just been a series of releases on Twitter or something, and no one would have batted an eyelid.
I feel like the thing that would have sold it, the thing, if they had Blueprints should have been in there.
Yeah.
I was thinking when I saw this, I thought maybe they'll give us the release date for Mina the Hollower.
Yes. Since that's a very high-profile indie game coming out.
Yeah, I would have thought that's a good time to. We only got spring in the PlayStation show, so I thought, well, maybe this is time to give the actual release date, because a lot of these were really coming out in May or June. So I thought that does sort of prove my point. These a lot. The weird thing about it is, for me, I feel like you should aim to get an indie in this thing. You should aim to get your indie game to come out on the day of the presentation or very close to it, because you risk, with these presentations being quite forgettable, you risk people not remembering that your game existed a couple of weeks later.
Yeah, definitely. That's a big issue. So, especially because, unfortunately, a lot of these indie games do look quite similar as well with their art styles.
Yeah, that's the thing.
They blend together.
That's the thing about indie games. People have said they don't look unique anymore.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They used to look unique. They don't have that going for them anymore. And they almost feel as... That being said, though, this is the one environment where you can get some very interesting concepts and interesting ideas that no one else is going to try. Now, I would say that being said, Midnight Walk and Blueprints were very good headlines to have.
Yeah.
But how many people who actually did buy Blueprints previously would now buy it again on Switch 2? Like, this is only made for people that just had Switch 2 and were hearing good things about that game.
And that's the issue as well. As we were saying, the two biggest highlights of this game are ports of other games.
Yeah.
So there wasn't really an indie that was wholly original to this that really stood out.
They needed that. And especially considering less people are tuning into these now that Silk Song is out. They know then that Silk Song's never going to appear in this thing. And there's not an indie that is that high a profile that has a possibility of showing up. So, what other trick? So, that's the indie one. We'll move on to the next presentation, which was a Pokemon Presents happened on Pokemon Day.
Yep.
Mostly updates on this one. So, we had like events happening in some of the mobile games. We did have Pokemon. We did have Zapdos, Articuno, and Moltres come into Unite.
Yeah, which is interesting because they're already in Unite as like little raid bosses to fight in the center of the maps.
Yeah, but they made that more official, and there were a few new. We also had stuff like. An event was kicked off in Legends EA for a new mega form for Garchomp.
Oh, and the big announcement at the very start, you can now buy Gen 1 music on little cards.
That was so dumb.
And everyone's so annoyed because this should have just been on Nintendo's music app.
It's never going to go on Nintendo's music app now. And that's the thing. The Pokemon Company will hold things back from Nintendo's subscription services. We saw that with the fact that Fire Red and Leaf Green did release on that day.
Yep.
Like, that's not... Now, granted, that one, I think they had more of an excuse with it because of the Pokemon Home functionality, with some of their upcoming releases. That makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of, but that's the thing. I think Pokemon Home has its issue. But I was also kind of going, what? Why is this a product that you're selling? Because even if you did that, YouTube still exists. You can't get literally every version of the soundtrack in its entirety that people put up.
Yeah, because there's just too many uploads and remixes.
Exactly. So why would I put the effort in to get the? Not even that. Even if that wasn't the case, I would not feel the need to buy these because that's just going to be so fiddly to move. Like, oh, I want to listen to Lavender Town's theme. Well, I got to take out Pure City and put that in. And it's annoying because Gen 1 is one of the, and I'm going out on a limb here, is one of the best video game soundtracks of all time.
Yeah, it's iconic for a reason.
And I think it definitely deserved a better than this. I mean, I was hoping for a few more new announcements. They gave a sort of release date for Pokemon Champions. They said it's coming out in April.
Yeah.
But they haven't. But outside of their Asian markets, they have not communicated well when Champions exactly becomes a competitive format. We know the one thing we learned in recent days was that the competitive format will change in Asia around May the 16th because they're up till May the 2nd. Many of those tournaments are running Scarlet and Violet with the current regulation in place. But they haven't communicated to competitors in Europe or America or even Latin America and Oceania, any other market.
Yeah.
They have not communicated what the timeline is. They did, however, make an announcement on their Twitter page that there will be a global challenge in early May and that sign-ups would happen on April the 23rd. So we know the game will come out at the very latest April the 23rd.
Yeah, definitely.
But we don't know, is it going to come out any sooner than that? And it's like, this is terrible communication on the part of the Pokemon Company.
And worse than that, Japan also got a second trailer for Champions, actually showcased the characters in it and their Pokemon, whereas we didn't get any of that.
Yeah, apparently the plan is that's going to be the launch trailer in other territories. I've heard.
Yeah.
It also went over what the abilities were for 4 of the new megas.
Yeah.
Mainly the main. I actually didn't get what Florette's mega ability was, but they did go over the abilities for Delphox, Chesnaught, and Greninja. And the one thing it told us was Delphox maybe, Chesnaught maybe, Greninja absolutely no way. This is the stupidest thing you could have done to this Pokemon. Yeah,
so both Greninja and Chesnaught keep their hidden abilities from the base form. It's only Delphox who has a new ability.
Yeah, and Chesnaught actually that ability is actually quite good. Yeah, Delphox apparently gets Levitate, which is one that people suspected, and that means you've now taken one of Delphox's best its best things, which was to use it as an expanding force user, and you've gotten rid of it.
Since we levitate, you levitate above the terrain, so you can't use it anymore.
They did the one confirmation that did happen, actually, not confirmation, but they are suspecting they've revealed Mega Raichu X's ability is going to be Electric Surge.
Yeah.
Which actually would make it quite viable in some regards. But it'll be interesting. But the communication around Champions has been terrible.
Definitely, yeah.
And also, they only said that's for the Switch version. The mobile phone version is taking even longer.
Yeah, because that was like way later in the year. They didn't give a fixed date for that either.
They didn't even give a timeline for when. They just said later in the year, this will come to mobile phones. And that's... I don't think the companies that organise competitions are very happy about this at all.
No, because it makes it harder to set everything up and organise.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the trading card game. There's been way more communication around the trading card game.
Yeah.
Than anything else, because that one they're telling us exactly when that's where they're saying exactly when the rotation for the new set is coming out, and exactly what cards will be legal and what will not be legal. They haven't. They need to communicate. And the one excuse I heard was, well, this makes up such a minimal part of the market,
Yeah.
and that's not true. And well, it is true to a extent, but it's still a pretty huge part of the market. Like, how many people compete in the video game championship events, the big events that happen
Yeah.
throughout the year? How many people do that? There's got to be hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah, definitely.
How many of, and you're now, I still think that's a big enough market to say you've got to communicate better.
Yeah,
And
definitely. Especially bring up the phone version. That's going to get even more people into the game now because they don't need to buy a Switch 2 to compete.
yeah, and it will be with them at all times. They can go to any
Yeah.
competition with. And it's funny because what we saw from the Asian markets trailers and screenshots,
Yeah.
there's a lot to like about Champions. It's like very
Yeah.
customizable characters and poses.
Yeah.
The animations are looking great. The opening videos are great. They revealed a bunch of Pokemon that are coming into the game, like Farigiraf and Mousehole. And I just thought, why was this trailer not out? And it does go to my point that it looks like this is going to be, the opening thing is going to be a good chunk of the Pokemon from all the Switch games.
Yeah.
And apparently there's going to be that whole thing we saw of like the Pokemon you can rent. Apparently that's going to shift on a daily basis.
I'm not sure how I feel about that. That seems quite scummy.
Basically, it really encouraged you to bring your Pokemon from Pokemon Home into the game, which you're not technically doing that. You're creating copies of the Pokemon.
Yeah.
And then they come in without their EV spreads, and there's a lot of debate over whether the game is going to contain IV values or not, which possibly not. And I'm kind of hoping they're not, because I spent half of yesterday getting a team together for an upcoming competition. And it involved having to get Pokemon with specific IV, which included spending 20 minutes trying to find a 0-speed Torkoal.
Because, to be fair, that's a good example, though, the barriers to entry with competitiveness. You need specific Pokemon with specific IVs that you cannot change. So you either catch a lot or breed a lot. But if they're immune to IVs, that would open the doors open to a lot more people to just build their teams with just EVs only.
But I've had mixed responses to this. Some top players are very happy about the idea of it, and some are really not happy about it. I know someone in my group who I'm going to keep anonymous for this one because they are probably going back to content creation soon. But they were really not happy with the idea of IVs being gone. And I definitely got their point on it.
Because it does change a lot of Pokemon who change their IV to do like speed ties and outspeed other Pokemon.
For example, I had to catch a 7-speed Incineroar yesterday, and it was specifically because 7-speed was specifically because it needs to be good in Trick Room, but it also needs to be able to be good into a Ting Lu match.
Yeah.
So that was the very specific reason why that one, and also in Trick Room it outspeeds Ursaluna.
Yeah.
So that was the very specific reason why it had to be that speed. But getting rid of that would mean that scenario could not happen.
Or what they should do is just give the players the ability just to change the IVs themselves.
I wouldn't mind
using an ending system.
I would not mind that if they kept IVs, but you can change them. I would be very, very happy with that. But
since they already have the system in the game of the bottle caps to max them out, but it's not like I talked to you like a rusted bottle cap to drop them down to 0, which it should be.
Or like a thing, not necessarily to get them down to 0, or like a gold rusted bottle cap for 0, or a rusted bottle cap that like takes it down by 2 or 5 or 10.
Yeah.
Catch my drift. It's like one of those things where I'm just like, what? Why would this would be so much? But I will say, other than that, Champions, it's looking like it'll be a genuinely interesting way to continue the video game championships. But of course, we've got to get to the big one at this. Pokemon Generation 10 was announced. It's called Pokemon Wind version and Pokemon Waves version, which I had dismissed that was actually going to be the title, because I thought that the game that was a sort of fake leak that had happened years ago. I guess Pokemon Company
Yeah,
decided, oh, that's great. We'll actually use that.
yeah, because it was all part of the massive Terra leak that also leaked a lot of stuff about Scarlet and Violet before release for their DLCs.
What do you think about Wind and what the look of Wind and Waves? Because they've gone for a Southeast Asia aesthetic this time.
Yeah, I feel it's really good. Seeing those comparisons that Good Vibes Gaming did between Scarlet and Violet and Winds and Waves is really night and day, in my opinion.
It looks like they've taken the time to really make sure we don't have another opening of Scarlet and Violet situation happen.
Yeah, it
And
looks so much better. There's now more ambient and dynamic lighting as we see when we go through the jungles, whereas in Scarlet and Violet, the lighting is very flat.
yeah, I will freely admit that's an issue, especially when you put it on Switch 2 and it has the upscaling happen to it. You notice that.
Yeah.
But this will be a Switch 2 exclusive.
Yeah, which a lot of people aren't happy about. But it's like, how do you look at this trailer, expect it to run on a Switch 1?
It's not going to happen. One, that's not going to
No.
happen. Two, these companies have to move on. These are the,
Yes.
It's the same sort of people who complain there's nothing on PS5 that wasn't on PS4. What do you mean? Why is it? This is never going to run on Switch 1. I'm sorry, guys. Eventually, you were going to have to upgrade.
Yeah.
You might as well do it now because the last few years have proved anything. This price is not going to go down. It's going to go up.
Especially depending on the lawsuit, America could be quite petty, hike the price up even more.
Yeah. I look for, so I would say, yeah, but the other complaint, but again, I found it weird, that complaint. Also, the other complaint was it's coming out in 2027.
Yeah.
I don't think it's late 2027. I could see them doing that, and I wouldn't mind if they did that, but I think that judging by the way the trailers are done and everything else, this will be February or March of 2027.
Yeah, it'll definitely be before the end of the financial year, I reckon.
Because why would you bring out this trailer? Obviously, you had to bring out this trailer now. I think if it was coming in late 2027, they would have said fall 2027 or late 2027 to really tell people, okay, we're probably not going to have a Pokemon Presents for a while. That would get the message up. Don't necessarily expect one in the summer or autumn. We might go a year without one, or the next one will just be updates and maybe a look at the legendaries, but do not expect anything substantial in future ones. Whereas now, the Pokemon Company can have one or two more ones if they wanted to release it around that time and say, here's a few more Pokemon we're going to reveal, and here's this. I don't think we see anything new about Wind or Waves until at least about a month after Champions comes out.
Yeah, the want to have Champions be the main focus for now.
I think that's the focus. They want Pokemon Pokopia to be the focus right now. Next month, they want it to be Champions. And then after that, we can put everything into Wind and Waves.
Yeah.
Incidentally, we also got a look at the starters.
Oh, the starters are so good.
Yeah, it's actually a really great set. So we had...
So I'll go through them. So we had Brout, which is the grass chicken bird. We had Bon, which is the Pomeranian fire type, and Gekwa, the water lizard.
I like all three of them, but Bon broke the internet.
Yeah. As soon as I saw it, I was like saying, right, that's my starter.
Yeah, I love the fact you and Elliot both picked your starters immediately. Elliot went for the chicken, you went for the Pomeranian, and I was like, okay, I'll take the water lizard.
Yeah.
Which, incidentally, that means that you're gonna have to breed me a Bon to.
Yeah.
So for
which is fine, but yeah, I love the design of Bon, and also my grandparents used to have a Pomeranian. It was evil, but they still had it. So it's all right. That's what I'm getting.
You joined us for Reese's Pokemon therapy session.
Yeah.
I've got to wonder what those Pokemon are going to look like when they're fully evolved. I mean,
there were so many memes going around about Bon, where people drew fan art of it with Velcro on its feet so it can't stand up for its evolution.
I saw one where people just made it bigger and bigger and said, we don't need to change it.
Yeah. Just keep it on all fours.
I did see the Out of the Way You Simpsons meme with Eevee and Bon.
Yeah.
Which I mean, it's cool. I do think, though, the starters this time, The only one I'm not as sold on is what were the grass starter?
Brout.
Yeah.
Yeah, so everyone puts that. It's basically just one of the things from Angry Birds.
Yeah, and with a bit of a rowlet like makeup, especially because we've already had a bird grass starter with the previously mentioned rowlet.
Yeah, which we also had Water Lizard before with Sobble,
Yeah.
with Sword and Shields.
That being said, I think the design of Gekwa is better than Sobble.
Yes, definitely. And hopefully, whatever the final evolution is, it's a lot better as well than Inteleon.
Oh god, Inteleon didn't even look good, and it was useless half the time.
So, because I quite like the look of Sobble. I hated the look of the middle form. The colours were garish. And then Inteleon was such a disappointment. I was like, right, you'll go straight in the box. I'm not using you anymore.
Yeah, it's like, oh, great. We got the Inteleon was like, oh, great. Yeah, they got the yeah, we get it. Britain's obsessed with James Bond. We didn't need a James Bond Pokemon.
Yeah.
Especially because so, I mean, it's a brilliant looking game. But obviously, the other thing in this trailer, we didn't see any other new Pokemon except the starters. But
no, since all the other Pokemon were returning Pokemon in the environment.
Given the timeline of this game, of when it could come out, like anytime next year, I don't think you had to reveal new Pokemon in this.
No, save that for another big announcement down the line, like in Summer Game Fest, you can reveal like a legendary or something, or the middle evolutions.
Or, for example, you could say, yeah, or you want to, if you want to reveal the legendaries, or at that point you can say, well, here's the gimmick for this one.
Yeah,
because inevitably they've done a gimmick in every game since X and Y. They're going to do a gimmick.
So it's a gimmick that's always been in the logo as well. Yes. The Japanese fonts, yeah.
So we had Gigant in the Switch alone. Like we had Mega Evolutions, we've had Z moves, we've had Gigantamax, we've had Terrestrialization. This time, what could it be this time? I mean, whatever it is, they can work in incorporating that into Champions for future content.
Yeah.
But let's have a. But it'll be interesting to see. So. That's the. How would you rate that Pokemon Presents?
If you ignore all the terrible phone stuff that they always show off anyway, I think it was pretty solid.
Relatively solid, but it was mostly updates. Gen 10 at least gave a bit of a talking point.
I also prefer this reveal for Gen 10 than we did for Scarlet and Violet, because that Scarlet and Violet one was just live action in a museum with a few glances around. Whereas as we saw gameplay, we saw real Pokemon. So I was a lot more impressed by this.
Yeah, so it definitely gives an air of more confidence in Wind and Waves, and it does look like it does look like the message I got is, we learnt our lesson. We've taken care of it this time.
Which is funny because everywhere else in the game industry, fans are mortified when a game gets a release date the following year. With Pokemon, everyone celebrates when the release date's a year away.
I'll put it this way. The only reason I'm celebrating it's a year away is the fact that I've got Champions to hold me over. I think I'd be a little more peeved off if Champions was not coming out.
Well, I think with the amount of stuff you know in Pokopia, that's pretty much unlimited creativity. That would tower over most casual fans, at least till next year. Yeah,
I can imagine, especially if there's like paid DLC in October or something like that. Like that's going to drag people back in.
Yeah, because like I said, so far there's huge swaths of the map we don't visit over the course of the game. So there's a ton of content that they could potentially do and release.
Let's we'll come back. So yeah, no, that'll be interesting. Yeah. We probably will end up discussing Wind and Waves down the line, obviously.
Although in the past, other spin-offs like New Pokemon Snap did not receive DLC when we thought they could do. So it's up in the air whether or not it will.
Well, no, New Pokemon Snap did get a free DLC, but no one paid attention to it.
No, when did that release?
It's like a couple of months after release. They just suddenly released one new map with which was a throwback to the original Pokemon Snap.
I literally had no idea about that until you mentioned it right now.
Yeah, no one remembered it. It was like it got one free update DLC. And that was it. They never did anything else with it. Which is annoying because new Pokemon Snap is really good.
Yeah, same, because we both reviewed it and loved it.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. It's one of my favorite Pokemon spin-offs. I'll
Yeah,
stand by that. I know people look at me funny when I say that, but I always stand by it. I think it is one of the best Pokemon spin-offs.
easily, yeah.
Um,
So, let's hope now with Pokopia, it doesn't go the same way. It gets DLCs that are actually advertised,
yes.
so people keep playing it.
I think it's sold a lot better than Pokemon Snap had at this
Yeah,
point. So I can imagine. I wouldn't mind them having a go at another Pokemon Snap, though. I still think there's room to expand this.
I think with Snap, it could be a thing where it's one game per console generation.
Yeah, but we're at a new console generation. Give
Yeah,
us a new Pokemon Snap.
yeah, that's what I mean. So we don't need another one right now.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah,
I mean, overall, the other thing that does me a bit interested now is
yeah,
that Wind and Waves is now coming next year sometime.
yeah,
That means it's not the holiday game for 2026.
yeah.
Does Nintendo have an announcement ready for a holiday game for 2026, or are they going to play it a bit light this year? Because we know Yoshi got announced. Like
Yeah,
that was another item of news we could do. Yoshi got announced for May the 10th.
just got trailers yesterday, just out
Yeah,
of nowhere.
yeah, out of nowhere, it just said, "Oh, by the way, this is the release date for it, and here's a little bit of a better look at it," and it actually
Yeah,
looks all right from what I can see.
yeah. It has a nice new aesthetic we all enjoy.
What do we think is? Do we think there's a holiday game this year? And if so, what do we think it is?
Well, that's a really tricky thing because there's nothing really been rumored right now, is there?
No, not really. I'm going to make a bold one. I think it is, and I think it's 3D Mario.
I would have expected a trailer by now if it was, because we're in March.
The reason I think they're holding it back is I think they want to get the Mario movie out the way.
Yes, good point.
And also, the Mario Wonder Switch 2 version is out next week.
Yeah,
So that's going to affect the timeline of when they want to show a new Mario game. So I think there's too much Mario at the minute, and they want to get a few things out of the way before we ever reveal one more, this big. I mean, that's just speculation, because I'm thinking it can't be Zelda
yeah,
realistically. Like, even it can't be 3D Zelda. We're not at that stage yet
yeah,
for a reveal and release in a few months. 2D Zelda, where we just had that with Echoes of Wisdom,
yeah.
and we won't be a Warriors game because we just had that as well. So Zelda's completely out of the talk. Pokemon, we now
Well,
know.
yeah, but just going back to Mario, I was just putting the trailer on. It is still the 40th year anniversary of Mario,
So
so there is a possibility there of a big celebration game in winter.
I could imagine it.
Yeah,
I think it's the only option we have for them at the minute, if there's someone working on it. I mean, I'd say this year, get ready for the holiday game to be either not there or a bit underwhelming. Because
yeah.
if there isn't a 3D Mario, does Nintendo have anything that could draw headlines like that?
Well, we had Donkey Kong last year. We've had new Metro Prime come out. There's not really a lot of the new IPs that are waiting for a new game.
Like the only one that really is Animal Crossing, and
Yeah.
that's not happening.
No, especially our Pokopia just come out.
Pokopia has just come out. Tomodachi Life is next month.
Yeah,
And we just had Animal Crossing New Horizons Switch 2 update. That would never have happened if Switch 2 version. That would never
yeah,
have happened if they were planning a new Animal Crossing around Christmas.
yeah,
I think new Animal Crossing is a thing. Obviously, they're working on because
yeah,
look how well New Horizons sold.
yeah. And I got a ton of updates that kept people engaged.
But I mean, I'm looking at like all the Smash characters, and I'm thinking, I don't think there's a franchise Nintendo has that would draw people in. Because let's face it, the three biggest franchises Nintendo have are Mario, Zelda, and Pokemon.
Yeah,
Let's be honest. Only one of those has a chance. We now know because Pokemon's out of it now.
yeah,
Only one of the other two has any chance of having any sort of release by the end of the year.
yeah.
Um, I mean, the only other thing I thought of was, um, No, I don't think.
Possibly a new mainline Kirby, because it's been a while since the Forgotten Land.
I could see that being a release, but I think for a lot of people, a 3D Kirby would be a bit underwhelming.
Yeah,
Maybe, and also we did just get Forgotten Land Switch 2 version, but you wonder who's worked on that versus who's working on the new 3D Kirby game, which after Forgotten Land was such a success story.
yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
um,
Well, it will surprise people. They could finally put some of the HD remakes of Wind Waker and Twilight Princess for Switch 2.
that would still be a bit underwhelming as a release for the big
Yeah,
Christmas game. I think their
yeah,
best bet right now. I'm looking at I'm looking at like what things they could do. Like anything right now other than no Mario would be underwhelming. Like for a large audience. Like I would love a new Star Fox, but that was going to be
yeah,
underwhelming. I'd love,
yeah.
for example, it'd be really cool if we got something. Oh yeah, no one release. I don't think it's a holiday release, but one release that is coming this year is Fire Emblem.
Yes, the one setting like the Roman setting.
Yeah, so Fire Emblem is definitely going to be a big talking point later down the line. And of
Yeah.
course, Duskbloods is that's not Nintendo, but it is Nintendo published. That one. It is.
Yeah, so a lot of the FromSoft fans are very concerned about that because it had like zero press since that initial trailer.
I think they want. I think it's because they want to take the time with it. They want to make sure
Yeah,
Elden Ring comes out. I think they want Elden Ring on Switch 2 out first.
yeah,
Um, which I can imagine we'll get an announcement for that soon. I mean, the only thing I could think of that would work as a big Switch 2 end of the year release, but it wouldn't be exclusive. There's only one thing I can think of, but I don't think it exists, and it wouldn't be a Switch 2 exclusive if it did happen,
yeah.
which is a Banjo Kazooie remake or a new Banjo game.
It depends if they work with Rare to get the Microsoft to get Rare back.
Or
Or
if someone else is developing it, for example, or something like that. Yeah, but at that point is I don't think that game exists for a
no,
start. And even if it, but if it did, the Switch 2 version would sell the best every time.
yes,
It's absolutely where that fan base is. It would, that would get headlines. So that's the point. I don't think Nintendo. The only other thing I could maybe think of, and this is a real strong maybe, and even then I think it would be underwhelming for everyone except you and me and some of the big RPG fans,
yeah,
is Xenoblade 4 or a new Xeno something game.
yeah. So we have had the success of X that did sell better than they were expecting, and we've just had the Switch 2 version come out.
So
So that is still building hype. And the main cast of 1, 2, and 3 do all have that continuing plot detail with the epilogue.
So what do we think? So what do we think? Is it Monolith Soft going to be doing the big holiday game this year?
Possibly
Potentially,
because I don't think they're making anything else currently.
they're probably helping the Zelda team on whatever they're doing next.
Yeah,
We know. I think didn't they have a credit on Donkey Kong Bonanza? I can't.
I think they did. Yeah,
It feels like Monolith Soft is just involved with everything Nintendo's doing at the minute.
yeah, pretty much. They're their own development and also support studio. It turns out.
Oh no, there is one that could happen. That new Splatoon game that could be a big deal for Japan, but I feel like for America and Europe that would not be as big a hype as it would be in Japan.
Right. So I've just been checking Microsoft. So Xenoblade 2 came out in 2017. 3 came out 5 years later in 2022. So I think it's a bit too soon for 4 because that would only be like a 4-year development cycle.
And we're just assuming it's Xenoblade 4. It could be
Yeah,
Xeno something because they obviously, without going to spoilers, by
yeah,
the end of Xenoblade 3 and its DLC, the storyline of that Xenoblade is complete.
yeah,
There's no, but obviously there could still be some places for a Xenoblade 4 to go, but I feel like they would do Xeno something.
yeah. So the last game they supported Nintendo on it was Mario Kart World. They
Oh,
did. They weren't involved in Donkey Kong Bonanza.
but again, that's a big deal for they're good at
Yeah,
designing open worlds, so good to
yeah,
get them on
definitely.
that. So I feel like Nintendo needs to start communicating a bit more, like not necessarily have a general
Yeah,
direct, but maybe have a decent announcers because I got to say, when is Fire Emblem coming? Is that
yeah,
Splatoon game that they announced coming this year?
Well, the funny thing about Splatoon, Monolith is a supporting studio in all three of those games as well.
Yeah, exactly. So is Splatoon going to be a thing at the end of the year?
Yeah.
And is there a big holiday release? And is it going to be, or do they have to get ahead of the game and say, look, guys, we don't have a massive game for the end of this year, but next year we're going to have Pokemon, and we'll have something really cool to announce. But you're going to have to be a little patient with us.
Yeah. So Splatoon 3 came out in 2022. So that's like 4 years. That's more than enough to have a whole new Splatoon game.
But we already had the announcement of that spin-off.
Yeah.
That was meant. I think that's meant to come out this year, and we haven't heard anything about that. So I could imagine a Nintendo Direct happening in May or June that will give a big outline of the, especially after May when they don't have anything post Yoshi on the card. Like we know at least we know, unlike 2020, at least we know the games are coming. We know Fire Emblem is a thing and it's coming this year, for example. So but they need to start communicating, and we know Dustbloods is possibly going to be a thing.
Right, so that Splatoon spin-off is called Raiders. It doesn't have a release date at all now.
Right. So, but I can so maybe Splatoon Raiders is this year, maybe not. The only one we know for certain, the only one I'd say we know for certain is coming this year is Fire Emblem.
Yep.
And that, which is good because that is a top release for me. I'm going to be very into Fire Emblem when it comes out.
Same, because it's games we all enjoy anyway, because they've always been consistently high quality.
I know Engage had some issues with the story, but the gameplay was really there. And the fact this is tying in a bit to Fire Emblem Three Houses is already winning points for me, because I really liked Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Yeah, so it's called Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave.
Yeah. So, we'll discuss Fire Emblem down the line. So that's it for us on this, what was not intended to be a very Nintendo podcast.
Yeah.
We'll be back next month. We'll talk about, obviously Anime Amigo's coming in a couple of weeks, so tune in for that. But
yeah,
we're going to have, this month we're going to be talking about, next month we'll talk about Monster Hunter Stories 3.
Yep.
But other than that, I can't think what the big releases we're going to be discussing coming up are. Really. Especially
because I'm away at the end of April.
Yeah, so that's gonna affect how we do things.
Yeah.
And of course, do tune in for that. We'll see you all next time. Goodbye, folks.
Goodbye, everyone.